AI agents are everywhere, automating tasks and making decisions at machine speed. But agents make mistakes. Just one rogue agent can do big damage before you even notice. Rubrik Agent Cloud is the only platform that helps you monitor agents, set guardrails, and rewind mistakes, so you can unleash agents, not risk. Accelerate your AI transformation at Rubrik.com. That's RUBRIK.com.
We all have a story. Your story is not my story, and my story is not yours. However, we can find joy, hope, and emotional healing even through our most painful moments in life. Let's walk and take this journey of healing together, one step at a time, because your story does not define you.
Hey, God's beautiful people. It's Dr. Niesha here, and I want to say welcome back to Your Story Does Not Define You. If this is your first time joining us, I want to say thank you for tuning in and listen to this platform. I want to take a moment and encourage you to like this podcast, share it with your friends, share it with your coworker, and hope that you continue to tune in on these conversations. And if you are just joining us once again, if this is your second time, your third time, your fourth time, or if you've just been a day oneer and you have been here since day one, I want to thank you as well for your continued support. The podcast would not be successful without you all if you were not tuning in. So I just want to welcome you and say thank you again. What a blessing. So as you all know, every single podcast episode, I highlight the fact of us being able to control our vibes every day. And one of the reasons why I do that is because I really, really love when we can be intentional about when we wake up and we are not in a space that feels comfortable or does not feel good to us, that we have permission to change that we can change our mood, we can change our perspective on what is going on, and we can adjust that, and we can tune into something that feels a little bit more comfortable or that feels a little bit more welcoming. So that is one reason why I continue to say, what is your vibe for today? So if I can share with you, my vibe for today is, my vibe today has been, I would say, trying to pull it together. And so when I say pull it together, not in a negative way, it's just been a really busy season for me. And so I've had a lot of different events coming up, a lot of speaking engagements. I've been traveling back and forth out of town, doing workshops and trainings. And so I literally have been taking one thing at a time. So I've been trying to give myself permission not to overload myself and try to worry about all of the different things that I have coming up, but really trying to tackle things one at a time. So when I say my vibe today is pulling it together, that is exactly what I'm doing. Just pulling it together, getting everything accomplished one at a time. So today I am super excited because I have a special guest that is joining me on today. As you all know, for the last couple of episodes, I have kind of started the conversation about a conference that I had in March that was called It Hurts to Heal. And so I've continued the conversation by inviting a couple of ladies that were a part of the program that were speakers at the event. And last episode, we had Miss Desiree Haddad here. And today I have Miss Lenora McClellan here to join me on this podcast. And I'm sure I said her name wrong, her last name, but she can correct me because I tried to make sure I mastered it before I said it. And if I butchered it, I'm so sorry, Lenora. Okay. So please forgive me in advance. But just to tell you guys a little bit about Miss Lenora, she's an amazing woman in our community. She lives here in the community that I live in, and she is so talented and has so many gifts that God has gifted her with. And when I say y'all, at the conference, she shared her testimony and she shared her perspective on the importance of healing through tears. And today she is just going to share some of that with us and maybe even go into a little bit more depth about the conversation. And so Lenora is a local author. She loves to write. She also writes poetry. She is a faith-based writer, so she has written over 15 plays in Bakersfield. And I have heard about her plays, and I heard that they are really amazing. She is just a woman that loves women and that is really using her story to bless other women and to help other women know that they can make it. And Lenora also has her own story and her own testimony of how she has overcome domestic violence and how she's been in a situation where it was abusive. But not only that, she has experienced some other things that I won't share with you, that I will give her the opportunity to share that with you if she likes. So Miss Lenora, thank you so much for being here.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
So Miss Lenora, can you tell us a little bit about yourself? Who are you?
Well, I am a local writer, and I give God all the glory and the praise for writing through me. I've been here I'm 60. I'm turning 60. I've been here all my life.
Okay.
I found out I loved to write when I was younger.
Okay.
I started journaling, and then the journals turned into poetry.
Okay.
The poetry turned into books. The books turned into plays.
Okay.
And I'm just someone who loves the Lord, and I want to give back to my community through the gift that God has given me.
Okay, awesome. I love that. So, Miss Lenora, before we kind of dive into the conversation, I know that you are doing a lot of things in our community, and one of the things that you do is a book club. And I know, can you tell us a little bit about the book club?
Yeah, so God has written 15 books through me, and so I begin to reintroduce them to people who don't know I have 15 books out there.
Okay.
And some of them are poetry, some are self-help books. There's one on abstinence. There's one on the serious things in life like molestation and rape. Right now we are doing Life's Journey.
Okay.
And it's the living and loving and letting go.
Wow.
So it's the living, our normal everyday living is poetry we discuss.
Okay.
And then the loving is when you fall in love. So there's love poems and our perspective on love and even sharing some things about our mates. I'm single and celibate, so I'm just there to help because I was married before.
Okay.
And then the letting go is when people pass away or when we lose friendships. So I have some poetry on funerals that you can use at funerals, and some on asking for forgiveness from people you let go.
Wow, that's
and just
amazing.
Different things.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Thank you.
And that sounds like it's very meaningful too.
Yeah.
I think one of the good things and positive things about groups is the power of connection, which we kind of talked about last episode with Desiree, is just how it's so meaningful to be connected to people that you feel like are safe spaces and people that kind of like pour into you and kind of encourage you to keep going. So I love that. So as we begin to dive into this conversation and just kind of continue this conversation on healing and what does healing look like, one of the things that I am learning as I continue to do the work that I do is that healing can look so different for everybody because everybody's experiences is not the same, right?
Yes.
So Miss Lenora, what does healing mean to you?
Healing means being able to live life and not dwell on the things that have happened to you in the past, but actually using those things to help other people.
Okay.
So when you can tell your story and it doesn't affect you in a negative way, but it helps you bring positive to someone else's life,
right?
That's the beginning of healing.
Okay.
I feel like we're going to be healing until Jesus comes back.
Right, absolutely.
But every day, every time you interact with someone, it's the beginning of another healing process.
Right. So when we think about that, and I agree with you that healing is going to be a lifelong journey, right? We are going to be on this journey until Jesus comes back or till whenever our last day is here, right? And it's so important for us to embrace that journey. And I know some people are starting their journey. Some people are continuing their journeys. And, we just definitely want to encourage people to continue to do that, whatever it looks like for them. And so, as I mentioned earlier, Lenora, one of the topics that you talked about at the It Hurts to Heal conference was healing through tears. So when we think about healing through tears, can you just tell us what does that look like, or what has that looked like for you?
Well, I was so glad that you gave me that topic. I didn't know that I really needed that topic, but it actually put into perspective all the tears that I was crying over different things. I was pouring out and God was pouring in. So it's really releasing those hurt areas from the past through a natural way.
Right.
We cry when we're happy, we cry when we're sad.
Right.
There's different reasons why we cry. But I embrace crying as a way of letting go of things that I couldn't control and not letting them like guide my life negatively.
Mm-hmm.
So what it looks like for me is that I'm pouring out
Right.
and God's pouring in. I have a quote that says, man is not moved. Man is not moved by every tear you cry. God is moved by every single tear you cry. So man is not moved by the many tears you cry.
Right.
But God is moved by every tear you cry.
Right.
So
right.
I just really truly believe that tears is a way of releasing.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, I agree with you. Like, tears are so powerful.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I like about tears, so like even when I work with my clients and they talk about, oh, I just can't stop crying, or if they start talking about things, they talk about, well, crying as if it's a bad thing.
Yeah.
And so I ultimately share with them that crying is not a bad thing. Like, crying is a form of release, like you said, right? And so sometimes when you can't find the words to say, your tears kind of say the words for you.
Yeah.
And so when I think about you kind of saying how God understands every single tear that we cry, I think about the scripture in the Bible that talks about God understanding our tears, right? And sometimes we don't have to say nothing, we just cry. And I know for me, like if I'm going through something and I have a really good cry, and I mean an ugly good cry, I feel a lot better afterwards. And so Lenora, can you just kind of share what you feel comfortable sharing with, just kind of like about your story?
Okay.
And tell us how, through your journey and through your process of the things that you've been through, how tears kind of saved you.
Well, first I want to say women who or anybody who feels like crying is something negative, that's because society has told us it is.
Yes.
Like from the beginning, they say big boys don't cry,
Mm-hmm.
or we shouldn't cry. But actually, crying is a healing process.
Yes.
It releases so much.
Yes, it
So
does.
my story begins when I was younger. I remember at 9 years old knowing that I had been molested. So I didn't really understand that it was something bad until I got older.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was a time when I got raped when I was a teenager.
Mm-hmm.
And then I ended up marrying a very abusive man.
Mm-hmm.
And like I shared at the conference, he didn't allow me to cry because tears to him would make him even more angry. So there's a time where I didn't cry for like a period of years.
Right.
And so when I was able to get away from him, God was able to deliver me from him. I had tears that had been held for like years. And once I got the divorce, I just released. You talking about ugly crying, man? And it was so like freeing. Like
Wow.
I felt like I just held in everything that I couldn't express.
Yes.
Because tears are a way of expressing
Yes,
ourselves.
absolutely.
Because if you think about it, when we come into this world, we cry.
That's right.
We cry because we're leaving the comfort of our mother's womb.
That's right.
And we're crying because, okay, this is a new environment.
Right, right.
When we laugh, we cry.
That's
right. And
right.
we're letting out emotions.
Right.
The Bible says laughter is medicine to the bones.
Yes, yes.
And then we
absolutely.
cry at different times. So
Uh-huh.
funerals, weddings, it's a way of expression, a way of release.
Mm-hmm.
And so my story, early on, I cried a lot. And then there was a time where I could not cry.
Mm-hmm.
And now I can cry about commercials, everything. But it's just such when you cry, and then after that cry, you feel so refreshed and emptied out of the negative.
Yes,
so
absolutely.
that God can pour into the positive.
Right, right. So kind of like you said, when you brought it up and it came to my mind, and I had jotted a little note down for myself, is that it became your freedom.
Yeah.
It was freeing for
Yeah.
you, because at one point in your life you were made to withhold those tears.
Yes.
Even though you wanted to release them, you couldn't. And so when you got the opportunity to do it, you just kind of let it all out, right? And it became your freeing. But I like what you said, how when we cry, it's like releasing and emptying out, right?
Yeah.
So giving God the opportunity to pour back into us, right?
Yes.
And so I've done some study on crying before, because I can't remember what I did. I had a conversation with a group of people where I talked about crying and about shedding tears. And there is even medical benefits from crying, right? It does something for you.
Yes.
And so just knowing that okay, it's not just mental healing, but it's also physical healing too, when we cry. Like God gave us these tears for
Yeah.
a reason, you know, and like you mentioned, it's not just tears of sadness, but it's also tears of joy. And so why not cry and just, you know, bask in the crying?
Yeah.
And so I think it's so profound that even as women, but more so even as men, like you said, they talk about how real men aren't supposed to cry. And I beg to differ.
Me too.
Because I feel that real men cry,
Yes.
right? Because again, why this is part of our human nature, and these are things that we're supposed to do. So, you know, let us indulge in this crying. So when you think about crying, Lenora, what has been some of you, can you share some testimonies of just kind of like how you've been able to impart into other people's lives by talking about the benefits of crying and just about your story about crying as a means of release?
Yeah, I just told them, different women, like I spoke today on what does your grace look like? How does your grace look?
Okay.
And I talked about how God gave us grace, which is undeserved favor.
Right.
You know, so I said, whatever you're going through, and when you release those tears, God knows.
Right.
And He's there for
Right.
every tear. He's there to comfort you.
Right.
So
Absolutely.
don't hold on to the past. Don't hold on to things that you know needs to be released, because not only is it physical, mental, it's an emotional healing also.
Right. Absolutely.
Like, you need to be good to yourself and allow yourself to pour out those things that you can't really talk about.
Right.
When you're pouring them out, by the time you're ready to talk about it, you're brave enough because you haven't held on to them.
Right.
I know
right.
I did a little studying too when you gave me the topic, and I know that you can cause yourself to have migraines.
Yes.
It's just a lot of things that come from not crying out.
Right. Right.
So a lot of women have asked me, you don't ever feel embarrassed? I'm like, never. I feel wonderful. Like,
right.
So I wrote a poem, and I was going to read it at the conference called My Crying Shades.
Okay.
But I didn't get a chance to find it, so one day I want to share it with you.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, because I would walk the bike path, and I was kind of ashamed of my tears at that time, so I would wear these black shades.
Oh, wow.
And I would be like communing with God, and just tears flowing down. No one knew I was crying.
Right.
So I wrote a poem called My Crying Shades, and it was like, you don't know what I'm going through. You can't see my emotion.
Wow.
You don't know my heart. You don't know
Right.
what's happening at home.
Right. Right.
And I can only share that with God. So
Right. Right.
it's a powerful, like, emotion releasing poem.
Right. Right. Right.
And I'm gonna, when I find it, I'm gonna share it with other women online.
Yes, absolutely. I think that would be so amazing.
Yeah.
And so even when you talk about that, one of the things you just said is that, you know, people cry, and sometimes people see us cry, and sometimes people don't see us cry, right? So people automatically feel like if you're crying, that it's a sad thing.
Yes.
Or sometimes if they know what's going on and they know it's like a positive thing, then okay, they know it's tears of joy.
Yeah.
However, talking about not really knowing what people's stories are. So when you work with the women that you work with in your groups, like, and you see them cry, like, what is your response to them? Or like, what type of conversations do you bring up?
Normally it's a comfort right away.
Okay.
And let's talk about what you're going through. I'm not a counselor, but I am a expert on the pain that I went through.
Yes, absolutely.
I can share it with someone else. And then people's perception when they see you crying, you're right. They think something's wrong. I actually had someone pray over an evil spirit.
Oh, wow.
So I thought I was crying because release that evil spirit. No, it wasn't even about that.
Right.
But that's another thing you don't have to do.
Right.
We don't have to explain
Right, absolutely.
what we're going through.
That's true.
And don't let the perception of what you're going through stop you from releasing what you need to release.
Right, right. I agree.
So it's like in the groups we openly cry. If our book club is at Marie Callender's.
Okay.
Every 2 weeks we have it after church.
Okay.
And we usually have pie and poetry. You
Okay.
know? So we're crying in the private library there,
Right.
but it's wonderful. So.
Yeah, it's so healing. I mean, and just to be among other people that are sharing in that probably makes it even more powerful.
Yeah.
As we were talking, it kind of made me think of a quote that I wrote in my book that talks about crying and about releasing tears, and that's exactly probably where I did a little bit more study on tears when I actually wrote my book. Is that there was a quote in my book that talks about, instead of allowing ourselves to drown in our tears, to allow our tears to swim us to safety, because we can bask in our sadness and get stuck with just, even though we're crying and we're releasing, but we start feeling sorry for ourselves, and we obtain this victim mentality and feel like, okay, well, woe is me, versus, okay, no, I'm going to cry these tears, I'm going to release these tears, and I'm going to let these tears allow me to swim myself to safety.
That's right.
So when we talk about just like your story, now I've heard more details about your story at an event that we shared. We were on the panel together. That was the first time I met you. And your testimony is so powerful. And so when you think about just your personal stories and the personal things that you have been through, when would you say that you got the strength to recognize that, you know, it's my responsibility to heal? And when did you start making steps towards your own personal healing journey?
I would say it was at the time that I wrote the book, By God's Grace.
Okay.
So By God's Grace, I believe I released it in 2012.
Okay.
And I'm not going to be for sure that was the date.
Right.
But when I released that book, it was all about my journey, my personal journey, molestation, rape in a marriage, different levels of abuse, my personal story in poems.
Okay.
So God gave me the book in a way that I could understand and relate it to other people.
Right.
Because poetry is just, it comes natural to me. It came from my grandmother, Esmeralda Haley. She wrote different poetry.
Okay.
Mine started off as more tragic poetry. So that healing began from that book.
Right.
And I before I put that book out there, someone that was close to me, I let them read it.
Okay.
And they were like, you should not put that book out there. Have you checked with people that it might affect? Or I'm like, no, I haven't. You know, I commune with God, ask God about it. And so once the book came out, there was some negative feedback.
Okay.
And it got to a point where it was very emotional, more trauma just with the responses.
Yeah, I can see
that. So I asked God, I said, God, so show me someone that this book is helping. I don't mean to doubt you, but show me someone that's helping, because it's kind of too much for me to take in right now.
Right.
Releasing that story and then having the negative feedback from people who are close to me. Show me someone that's helping and I'll never doubt you again.
Okay.
That, I would say 3 days later,
oh wow,
I met someone that I normally would have never met.
Wow.
And she wanted to talk about the book. And I learned from that I helped her.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm saying he gave me the answer.
Yes, isn't it amazing when he does that? When, you know, sometimes we doubt ourselves and we kind of doubt like some of the decisions or things that we make, and we let other people influence us, and then sometimes we do reach out to God for support and for help, and he just kind of like gives us that feedback, that comfort that we need to know that we're doing the right thing. And so you kind of brought up a question that I was going to ask you, only because I heard part of your story on the panel, was about your when you were writing the poetry. Now, since we kind of talking about releasing it, we're talking about releasing through tears, what came to me was about you writing poetry. So when you're writing your poetry, you know, sometimes people write music and people write songs and people write poetry about their own lives. And so since you do have a book about you talking about your truths, so when you begin to write this book, and I could definitely see how this was something that was instrumental in beginning of your healing journey, because maybe if you didn't have the safe spaces to talk to, you were able to get these things out on paper, get them out your head and get them out on paper. So let's talk about the releasing of just words. Like, how has that been so impactful in your life?
Oh my gosh, that's a wonderful question, because I couldn't talk about it. So it was always something that I thought about, something that was really traumatic and hurting me. And I realized if I released them on paper, I released them from me. And I released them to be a help to someone else.
Right.
And it was like releasing the shame and opening up. This is who I am. This is who I started off being. This is my testimony. This is who I no longer am, because I'm giving it to you so that you can be healed in your journey. And I had a lot of people reach out. It was like the bestseller book.
Oh wow.
And it was like the most powerful book that I ever wrote. And I can never keep them now. Like, once people learn that it's my journey and it's about tragic stuff, they want to see. And a lot of people, we parallel, like we have some of the same issues that we've gone through. And we feel the same way. It's like when you release it from your mind and your heart, and you put it on paper,
Right.
it's like that's the story. It's gone to help the next person.
Yes.
And it actually is freeing again. It's another way of being free.
Absolutely.
God is so amazing because He gives us so many ways to heal. Like He's like, here's the tool.
Mm-hmm.
If you begin it, I will help you. I'll meet you right where you are. And that's what He did with me in every situation.
Yeah, no, I love that. And, you talked about the parallel and how, when you share your story and people find out about how you're connected or people connect in some kind of similar way. That was kind of like our interaction when I met you. You shared your story on the panel and I shared my story on the panel. And I don't think I don't know if I've completely shared my story about the domestic abuse that I've experienced at one point in my life on the podcast so far. But that's kind of like how our conversation sparked. I talked about my healing from my abusive relationship. You had talked about your healing. And we just kind of like started talking.
Yeah.
And so it is powerful when you can tell your testimony because it's not easy for people to get there. And so, being able to just be honest with your truth and being able to eventually say, okay, recognize that, okay, the situation that I've been through, this is a testimony for somebody else, right?
Yeah.
Because I do a lot of times hear that people say, they feel sorry for themselves because of the things that they've been through, and a lot of times people do question God and they wonder like, well, Lord, if you love me, God, if you love me, why did you let this happen to me? And so when we think about that, because like, I feel like, and maybe this is the God in me, that I was one of those people that said, Lord, I thank you for my tests and trials. And as crazy as that sounds, I used to say that because I felt like these are the things that are shaping me. And these are the things that you're going to use me to be able to help other women. And so just naturally on my journey as becoming a therapist and a trauma therapist, God has connected me to so many people that have the same experiences or very similar experiences that I've been through. Even now, like some of the experience that I've experienced with my kids, like I've talked to people that have the same thing, and this is where I'm like, okay, Lord, I see you. Like I see you talking, and I see you connecting me with people that you've allowed me to have a lived experience to be able to share with somebody. And so when we think about that, like, was there ever a time on your journey, just when you were going through what you were going through, did you always know God? And if you did you ever question Him and ask Him, well, if you love me, why haven't you helped me to get out of this?
See, that's a wonderful question. And I really never did because I feel like that God allows the evil that men do. We have free will.
Yes, we do.
So the world is a fallen world.
Right.
But there's a purpose. He takes what's bad and works it out for our good.
Yes.
So we can't see who was going to lead us down the path.
That's right.
And that's why He allowed our paths to cross.
That's right.
Because we have similar stories.
Right.
And I haven't told it all. If I ever tell it all, I have a book called Reshaping the Clay.
Okay.
It's like my life story, but it's like I always started and then I'm thinking about, okay, look at all this. Like,
right.
It's going to take forever to share this. But no, my grandmother, Espanola Haley, she brought us all up in the church. So I never saw God as someone that would allow that to happen.
Okay.
But I know that He allows our free will.
Yes,
He's not going to infringe on it, because if He did, then we would be made to serve Him.
Right.
He wants us to willingly serve Him.
Right.
So He wants us to willingly choose not to do the things we do.
That's right.
So I never blame God for it. Like,
yes,
because it's happened to a lot of people. It's not just I'm the only one that had that happen to. There's so many people that it happened to.
Right.
He was there to comfort.
Yes.
And that's what I think about God. Like all the things I went through, the times I felt suicidal, He was there to help me not do that. Like to be stronger, to emerge from it. And I understand what you're saying. Like sometimes you're glad it happened.
Yes.
Now that I see the people that our paths are crossed, if I could go back, I never would have wanted it to happen to me the way it did.
Right.
But I would never take back meeting people that needed help.
Right.
And because I went through the same thing, was able to, with God's help, tell them, this is how God brought me out.
Right.
So all of it is, I didn't blame Him, it's for His glory. It's to show our testimony that when someone's going through it and they think they can't get out of it, we are the role model, or we are the person that's been through it too.
Right.
And we can say, if not by the grace of God,
yes,
we wouldn't have got out of it. That may point that person to the right direction.
That's true. Like, I mean, we're the living proof.
Yeah, we're the living testimony
that it happened, right? And, you know, because I do know that sometimes, you know, and I do understand, or I can see how people can really feel like abandoned by God, because they feel like, okay, especially when people are younger and they're little kids, and people take advantage of them because they have more power than them in the moment. It is very heartbreaking to see that people would do things like that. And I do feel like, you know, there are a lot of people that question and wonder, well, God, you know, why would you do this to me? Why would you allow this to happen to me? And I do feel like it takes individuals' personal relationships with God to really understand, because he is a God of love, and he is not someone that will say, oh, well, I feel like Dr. Niesha needs to go through a domestic violence, so I'm going to let this person abuse her. You know, like you said, we're living in a fallen world, and there's evil present, and unfortunately, evil is in people, and so, you know, they do things. And so if you can just give an encouraging word to somebody out there that's listening to this podcast that feels like, you know, I hear you, Dr. Niesha, I hear you, Lenora, talking about God and about, you know, these experiences, and that maybe they're not at the space yet where they feel like, you know, okay, God, I know that this wasn't you, but maybe they're like upset with God because they feel like, why did you let this happen to me? What could you say to that person?
That it wasn't God. For me, this is my opinion, that I didn't feel like it was God who allowed that to happen to me. I feel like people don't make the right decisions. Not all of us are healthy in our mind.
Right.
The difference between someone who actually causes something and the person that chooses not to do it is a decision. So you have one person like is thinking about doing this crime. You have two people thinking about it. One makes the decision not to.
Right.
And the other one makes the decision to go the other way.
Right.
And what I would say to someone who's going through that, find a way to release it. I always say journal. Start journaling.
Right.
Once you start journaling, and then if you don't read your Bible, get with someone who does.
Right.
And talk about what you're writing down in your journals to someone you can trust.
Right.
That'll open the door up for more communication.
Right. Right.
And God is pursuing you, even if you're not pursuing Him.
Right. Absolutely.
And pray for the answers that you need.
Yes,
just don't
that.
take humans' advice, even though He sends the correct humans to you.
Right.
But ask Him to open up your heart and open up your mind to hear what He's saying to you.
Right.
Because He doesn't mean for any of us to go through anything.
Yes, yes.
He wants us really all to make it. He wished that none should perish.
Right, absolutely.
So you have to get all the facts.
Right.
Don't blame someone, and this is just my opinion, who sent His Son to die for you.
Right.
He loves us so immensely.
Yes,
I talked
He
about
does.
grace today and God's unmerited favor. I
Uh-huh.
had to talk at United in Christ.
Okay.
And it was just so just fulfilling and
Yes.
freeing
Yes.
and feeling that love that I didn't get when I was growing up. Like I was kind of left out there for the wolves because people attack you when you're vulnerable.
Yes, that's true.
And so we have a lot of people that don't have the mindset of loving each other the way God intends us to.
That's true. And some people don't even know how.
Right.
Like you said, they don't even know how to love because they didn't get that love. And it's hard to display something that you have not received.
Right.
And I like how you said that, you know, even if you feel like you don't know God, that, you know, you may not be pursuing Him, but He's always pursuing us, right? And sometimes it's just a conversation like, God, who are you? Like, reveal to me who you are, right? And sometimes it's just inviting Him into our spaces. And once we do that and He comes in and He reveals Himself to us, then it's like a personal experience that is unexplainable, that people can't really explain. So I really, really love how you said that. And so this has been a really good conversation, Miss Lenora, and I know we can go on and on and on about so many different things. But I just love how you are out in our community. You're out here in the world sharing your story, talking about the importance of healing through tears, and just even talking about how God brought you out of the things that you were in, and that even though I feel like we all still have so far to go, that you've come such a long way. We've all come such a long way, right? So as we kind of like wrap up the end of the podcast, and we're going to continue this conversation just on healing. I definitely would love to have you come back again to share some of your poetry on the podcast, because I'm sure there's a lot of people that would love to hear it. But can you just tell us, how can people connect with you, Lenora? If somebody wants to say, you know what, I want to know more about her, or I want to know about your book club or your books, how can somebody connect with you?
So all the books are on Amazon. So my name is Lenora McClellan.
Okay.
And you can Google that. And I also have a YouTube page where I have poetry on there.
Okay.
Our book club is at Marie Callender's. The next one is the 25th of this month.
Okay.
It's from 4 to 6. And we're in the library.
And that's in Bakersfield, y'all. Bakersfield, California.
Yes. And I'm on Facebook. I feel like if anyone tries to connect, God is going to provide the way.
Yes, absolutely.
My phone number, everybody has it. So all of you guys who have my phone number, freely give it out.
Okay.
I've kept my phone number the same for years.
Okay. For
even the girl that I told you about that reconnects every once in a while.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, but I go to Church of God on Oswell too.
Okay.
So pretty much any way, if you really want to reach me, you can.
Right. And her name is also will be in the episode. I'll put out some of her handles, so definitely make sure you guys connect. But go ahead, I'm sorry.
Yeah, and reach out to me on Messenger.
Okay.
It's just a lot of different ways you can find people if you really want to.
That's true, absolutely. Nobody's that hard to find, because I think Google will tell you give you a little hint about where people are, whether you want them to do it or not.
Yeah, and it's on Amazon and a lot of different sites that you can order the books, but I always keep them. I always keep them so I can save people the taxes and the shipping.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So they can reach out to you directly, too, if they want a signed copy of the book.
Yeah, and I'll deliver it to them.
Okay, good. So can you just spell your name for the audience, even though it's going to be in the little podcast episode? Can you just spell your name for those people that are not reading the caption?
So it's Lenora, and the last name is McClellan.
Look, y'all go look Miss Lenora up, and y'all get these materials. I have a couple of her books when we connected. So I just want to say, we talked about the last episode about the power in connection, and we are making connections. And anybody that comes on the episode that you all want to connect with, they are not hard to find, and you can reach out to them. And so as we wrap up this episode today, it's just so powerful to have conversations with people that are lived experience experts. And that's how I consider Miss Lenora. She's a lived experience expert, and she's using her expertise of how she's been on her healing journey and continuing her healing journey, and allowing her journey to be proof to other people, and then also a testament to other people. So before we say goodbye to the podcast audience, Miss Lenora, is there anything that you just want to add, or that you just want to share, or tell the audience out there?
Yeah, I feel like that my ministry part of it, my purpose is to help other women.
Okay.
I feel like every woman that I run into is beautiful, and I tell them. And sometimes people are weird to us. I'm like, I really feel like you're beautiful.
Right.
I think we have so much to share together.
Right.
And I also am in the midst of completing a play in November.
Okay.
It's Persis 2.
Okay.
And it's the mystery of the hidden wallet, lost wallet. So men are incorporated, but it has a powerful message from God. Wow. And we're always taking new cast members.
Okay.
My latest book is To Kill Their Free Will. Okay. And it's sort of like a mystery. It's a Christian book, but people, when you read it, you won't think it is. So it's in 3 volumes. Volume 1 is out already. But my main thing is trust God.
Yes, absolutely.
And then find out what His purpose is for your life. Because when you know what your purpose is, it also opens up the door to the beginning of healing.
Yes.
And the beginning of helping other people heal.
Yes, absolutely. I love that. Now, I have one last question. Yeah. So how can people... what's the word that I'm looking for? If they want to be on your cast, how do they audition? That's the word I'm looking for. How do they audition?
I take everybody. There's no audition.
There's no audition. Yeah. Look, y'all, if y'all ready for y'all moment to shine, y'all trying to get to Hollywood, y'all better hit up Miss Lenora.
And our play rehearsal nights are Fridays at Oswell, 100 Oswell.
Okay.
Church of God. We rehearse from 5:30 to 7 7-ish. So
Bakersfield, y'all. Bakersfield, California.
Yes.
If you somewhere else, you got to come here.
And we're always looking for more people, really any age groups.
Okay.
You know, so
that's awesome. I love it. And look at y'all. She even expanding her wealth to the community and giving other people to have an opportunity to, be a part of this. So, Miss Lenora, I just want to say thank you again for gracing us with your presence and for taking the time to be here. You are an amazing woman with an amazing testimony. I'm glad that the Lord connected us, and I'm looking forward to having you again on the episode. And look, y'all, I just want to say thank you again for tuning in on Your Story Does Not Define You, the podcast. Don't let this be your last episode. Keep tuning in like you've been tuning in. Keep sending me those messages via email, because it is really, really helpful for me to know what I need to provide for you. Again, this platform is all about telling our stories. We all have a story. We all have been through something, but the most exciting thing is that the negative experience that we have experienced do not have to overtake us. And when you hear the stories that people are sharing, you're hearing real life stories of people's real life situations that they experienced, but that they were resilient and that they overcame because they kept pursuing. So I love you all. Thank you again for tuning in. Until next time, Dr. Niesha here. I'll see you soon.